Music is a language that is universal. Millions of people listen to music every single day. Today, there are more ways than ever to listen to all your favorite songs and a much wider range of options than ever before in terms of styles of music. There is a community of people, much smaller than the population of those who listen to music, that allow this daily listening to happen recording artists. And that's who we're going to talk about today. Songs of hundreds of different genres are released to music platforms every single day, and there's at least one recording artist behind each of one of those songs. However, the large majority of the songs are the product of some type of collaboration. It can often be forgotten that there are people behind every song that you hear. People who put time, effort, and money into creating that audio experience. Why do people put in the time and effort to create these songs? How did they get their start in the community? What are their hopes and expectations in the community that is recording artists? Over the next few minutes, I plan to answer these questions and more. I'm Carter Hamilton of Boise State University, and this is Who You Hear, Episode 1. The topic of recording artists is one I'm very passionate about. I myself have been a part of the community of recording artists for several years now. I write, record, and release my own original music. I don't think this creates a bias necessarily for the things that I'm discussing today. It does, however, give me a closer look at the community. I have a perspective that is unknown to a non-member, and I plan on using that in a positive way today. Everyone that I have talked to remembers both how and why they became a part of this community. Personally, I had many reasons for joining. A lot of it had to do with my high hopes for the community, and the fact that it could provide a lifestyle that I so desperately desire. The financial freedom, the recognition of others, and most of all, the fact that working every day would feel like a privilege and not an obligation. More importantly, though, listening to music from different artists helped me go through a mental rough patch, and when things got even worse, I found that expressing my feelings through music helped more than anything else. Something about being creative, originating your own work, and being able to share that is an unmatched feeling. This is why I'm a part of this community today, but not everyone sees it exactly the same way. I had the chance to conduct an interview over the phone with rap artist, producer, and engineer Prince Banger. When I asked Banger why he decided to join the community, he told me, quote, "I love music, and I love the idea of fame. A desk job never appealed to me anyway." End quote. An honest answer, not one that necessarily has an extraordinarily deep meaning, but one that clearly matches his intentions that will be described in his hopes and expectations. I was also able to interview recording artist Preston Glover. I asked the same question to Glover. He, in turn, told me, quote, "I needed an outlet. Recording music has given me a way to express things I can't express just using words." End quote. As stated, there is something strongly therapeutic about creating your own work of art, so to speak. It provides a connection to the material that is unmatched by material written by others. From both personal experiences as well as discussions with others, it is clear that there are many reasons to join this community. These reasons are commonly tied to something with deep meaning, uniquely important to each individual. There's no specific motivation one has to have to become a recording artist, just to have motivation in general. Enough to provide passion and dedication for the craft that will need to be molded and perfected day in and day out. These artists are all very different. There are countless different styles of music, and even those who use the same style still have their own unique sound. What drives the people behind these different sounds to be what they are? During my conversation with Banger, he told me, quote, "I see these rappers on social media. I see their cars, their lifestyle, their clothes. That's what I want. That's why I'm doing this." End quote. The age of social media has clearly influenced more and more young music listeners to become artists themselves. The fame and lavish lifestyle is a big draw for people that are interested in the industry. Glover unknowingly confirmed what Banger had said when he stated that, quote, "I love music. I love the idea of working for myself and never having to worry about money. I'm obviously not there yet, but this path makes that a possibility in the future." End quote. It is a shared sentiment, a love for music as well as a desire for the lifestyle that potentially comes with musical success is a prime motivating factor for young, new artists today. Another question concerning these artists refers to their expectations. We already touched on these artists' hopes in the community, but hopes and expectations often differ greatly, and that is the case within this community. Personally, I experience this difference every single day. My hopes are like those of Banger, Glover, and countless other young artists just like us. My expectations, however, are not nearly as lofty. What I realistically expect out of the community is quite simply to have fun making music that I love, meet people along the way who share this common interest, and always have something interesting about myself to share with others. It is what sets me apart from most others in my eyes. I asked Banger in our interview about the difference between his hopes and expectations. He saw it in a different way than I did. During our conversation, he told me, quote, "My hopes and expectations go hand in hand. I expect to achieve all that I've set out for," end quote. A vastly different mindset than I employ. Curious about the third perspective I'd come to understand, I asked Glover the same thing. He responded saying, quote, "I can't expect anything. The whole idea of making music is about the unexpected. I know what I want, but I can't act like it's owed to me," end quote. Three different artists, three very different answers to the same question. In short, the expectations that members of this community have for themselves vary greatly. They are extremely unique to each individual. The last of the big questions concerning this community was how. We have heard why, we have heard about hopes of these artists, and we've heard about the expectations these artists carry for themselves. Now, it's time to explore how these artists got their start in the community. As with previous inquiries, I'll start with me. Personally, I was always music obsessed, freestyling at the lunch tables and writing my own lyrics in school journals when I may have been supposed to be paying attention. It was when I finally spent the money to buy my first, very, very low quality microphone that I finally started to record, alone and with friends. Since then, I have poured as much of my time, effort, and money into the community as I possibly can. I now have significantly upgraded in equipment. I have a much more refined sound and an efficient method of distribution, putting my music out there so people can access it. When I asked Banger about his early days in the industry, he seemed to look back on them fondly. He said, quote, "When it was all first starting, everyone around me was just in it for the fun of it. Money and connections were never even a thought. 4 of us pitched in some money, and we bought a terrible microphone, and we just started rapping into free recording softwares," end quote. Answering the same question, Glover responded, quote, "I started late. I'm only a couple years in, really. I had some connections with people who knew what they were doing, and I've spent my whole experience so far using others' equipment until I can afford to get my own," end quote. The mention of connections is a real common one. Author David Wiebe wrote in an article about starting out in the music industry, quote, "Ultimately, it doesn't matter what you're thinking about doing in the music industry. Connections are the most valuable resource you can have," end quote. The most valuable, he says, of anything, not money, not anything else besides connections. Every artist starts in a different place, whether it's scraping together a few dollars to buy a microphone that barely works, such as we did, or it's jumping right into using home studios. There is no one correct way to start out in this community. Here's what we do know. We know that who you know is as important as anything else. If you have your why figured out, and you strive to figure out your who, you can make the how happen. The people behind the music that you listen to every day have their own unique feelings, motivations, and experiences, as we've learned here today. It's understandably not always a primary thought when listening to music, but there are hardworking, driven people behind every production. Whether it be a world-famous charting artist like Travis Scott, or an artist like Banger, Glover, or myself just trying to make a name for ourselves. It can give you a better appreciation for the music you're hearing and the work that goes into it if you stop and consider who you hear. Thank you so much for listening. Of course, a special thanks to Prince Banger and Preston Glover for their helpful and interesting interviews that I have referenced here today. Also a thanks to David Wiebe, who wrote the article about starting out in the music industry.